Hey. Chrissy Too Prissy said, hey, girl, hey. Angel says, hey, Sarah. What's up? What's happening with you? What's going on in your world? It is a beautiful, windy day here in Los Angeles. If you guys heard my message on Sunday at the Potter's House, Dallas, I talked about those windy days here in LA. Patrice is watching from Baltimore on Facebook, Detroit, Texas, North Carolina. What's going on in your neighborhood? This month we're talking about courage at Woman Evolve. We're talking about the courage that it takes for us to show up in our lives. This week specifically, we're talking about courage to be free, courageously free. Nika says, hey sis, how was your day? It's a blessing to see you on. This is kind of random, so forgive me. Oh, I see Ghana, I see Nigeria, Alabama, Jamaica. What's up? So I was just sitting here and I was thinking about our theme, courage, and what it means to be courageously free. Like even in my own life, a lot of times we get, a word from God as a leader, as someone who speaks into the lives of other people, which I can't express enough how honoring it is that God would allow me, and humbling it is that God would allow me to speak into the lives of other people, I try not to just preach what I think you should hear. I preach what I need, what I need to hear, what I need to experience, and then I try to share that with you. And so, the theme this week is courageously free. And I'm like, well, Sarah, how does that apply to your life? What is an area in your life where you need to be courageously free? I wasn't even planning on doing this. So now I have to, I like to have my little definitions up so that we can all be on one accord. But courage, as we are using it, is defined as not deterred by danger or pain. There is nothing that keeps us from being courageous, like the danger of rejection, the danger of being misunderstood, the danger of other people not getting it. And yet, when we choose to live courageously, we risk vulnerability. If you're in the Woman Evolve book club, we're reading Daring Greatly, which is a book by Brene Brown that we've really been enjoying as a team. And so I was thinking to myself, like, courageously free, what would that look like for me in my own life? And one of the areas where I have been prayerful to God about me just being courageously free is like further owning my identity in God. I don't know that we ever fully master that because God is always revealing new layers of who we are. So when it comes to me being courageously free in my identity with God, like, when I first got a relationship with God and I was like serious, not just like, I grew up in church, but growing up in church and having a relationship with God are two different things. Come on, somebody. Sometimes you think because you've grown in church that having a relationship with God should come easily to you. And when it doesn't come easily, you think there's something wrong with you. Hello, church. I am the one who thought that there was something wrong with her because that relationship with God just didn't come easily to me. And as I have continued to discover who God is and discover his plans and his promises for my life, I have been able to step into that and to walk into that. And the moment I get comfortable in one definition of who I am, God shows me another definition. That notion of us going from glory to glory to glory, we love that, because it means that there's more and more and more for us. But what do you do when you don't know how to introduce your more into your now? What do you do when the more doesn't feel like it fits into the now that you have? It takes courage to say my more is more important than my now. And so I'm going to have to allow my more to stretch out my now. I'm going to have to allow my more to stretch out my relationships and to stretch out the way people receive me and the way people connect with me. And so we either choose more or we stay stuck in the definition that allows other people or perhaps even ourselves to be comfortable with ourselves. And so for me, as it relates to being courageously free, I feel like I'm finally getting to a place as a speaker where I feel like, I have a word from God and I'm going to share it. I'm going to release it. I'm going to say what God told me to say. I'm going to release what God told me to say. And I feel like that's a word for somebody, because what you all end up seeing is like the final product of my war with insecurity and fear and anxiety and rejection. You all see the end result. By the time I step into that moment, wherever it is God would have me to be speaking, by the time I step into that moment, I have warred and I have fought and I have prayed and I have come to a place where I believe fully in that moment that I will be standing in. And sometimes when you see people's final product, you think that it was easy for them because you don't get to see the war. And no matter, you're guilty of this, and I know I'm guilty of this, no matter how much a person says, you don't know what it took for me to get here, you think it still has to have been easier for you than it is for me. And the truth is, it's not. It's just as hard. If you're like one of the people who are like me and you can be a little shy, introverted, like stepping into a moment where everyone is looking at you, everyone is expecting for you to say something, there's this war and insecurity that I have to overcome. So anyways, in order for me to be courageously free in this season, I am stepping into ownership of my God-given identity. And ownership of my God-given identity is requiring me to reject who I think I am. A thing is happening. A thing is happening. In order for me to own who I am supposed to be in God, that means I have to reject parts of me that are not who I am supposed to be. The only problem with rejecting those parts is that it's not always easy because that part has become comfortable. Like me being an introvert, if I'm ever out and like my husband's speaking or my father's speaking and they're like, do you want to say something to the people? Like my answer is generally no. Okay. I didn't prepare. I haven't studied. I haven't done my war. So I'm not able to just step into that moment. And, sometimes they're like, whatever, and you're going to have to find something and step into it anyway. But that part of me is comfortable being behind the scenes. That part of me is comfortable not saying anything. But what do you do when God has given you a voice? I'm reminded of Moses. What do you do when God has given you a voice and made a demand on you to step out of you in order to step into him? And that is a process of unpeeling and unlayering and really saying at the end of the day, I don't mind being open and available to you, even if that means being close to who I used to be or close to what I have come to love, but limits me. Because there are moments when what you have come to love is actually limiting you. And you have to be willing to acknowledge that this is a limit for me. And so I was sharing this even on the podcast yesterday. So if you guys don't know, I don't know if you guys are following me or not, like in the algorithms or whatever, but my book is coming out April 6th. And anytime I've had a book come out before, I've kind of like posted about it, posted a couple quotes, and then I've just kind of like, left it alone because I hate to feel pushy. And this is another thing, like you can have something that you feel like every person should hear. Obviously, whether or not they do it or not is completely up to them. But I think that I have allowed this, oh my God, I'm like unraveling this with you all. Like I have allowed the fear of people talking negatively about me to keep me from pushing what God has given me. Specifically as a pastor who has a book, it's like, how much pushing of the book is okay before it comes to this space where people are like, now all you want is money, not knowing that when people buy the book, like I don't get any money from buying the book. They paid me to write the book. I've gotten everything that I'm going to get from that. So when I'm pushing the book, it's because I believe in the content of the book. But when I believe in it and I share it, I have to do that from a place of really accepting that I'm carrying something that I feel like other people need to experience. And the fear of being pushy, the fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being rejected, the fear of being ridiculed, all of those are things that are real for me. And because I am like somewhat of a people person, somewhat God is trying to deliver me. Like I never want people to feel like I am, like out here, being raggedy, so yeah, I'm learning to be courageous in showing up and backing up what God has given me, showing up and being intentional about creating spaces and environments. And listen, it's optional. Like, like I'm not asking people to do it like everyone has to do. And if you don't do it, you go into hell. Like, I'm not, trying to make it like this thing, but I do believe in Woman Evolve. And one of the reasons why I know it is just God orchestrated and God designed is because I had come to a place where I didn't want to write a book at all. When I finished writing Don't Settle for Safe, there is so much work required in pushing the book, and I didn't want to upset anyone or cause myself to be open for, like I said, ridicule or misunderstanding. And I was like, I'm never going to write a book again just because it's too much pressure. It's too much pressure. And then God gave me this revelation about Eve, and I could not shake it. I could not shake this fact that I have spent most of my life, and any woman who's grown up in church, you don't even have to have grown up in church. You can be someone who is a woman in general. You know that Eve messed it up in the garden for all of us. Okay. And but I just saw her differently. This know better, but didn't do better. And I thought about all of the times I knew better, but didn't do better, and how I stayed relegated and punished and ostracized in my own mind to this idea of you should have known better. You should have known better, and you didn't do better. And because of that, you can't do this, and you can't do that, and you can't do this, and you can't do that. And at the end of the day, those are all fear-based thoughts. And when I got this breakthrough about Eve and how she recovers after that moment. See, a lot of times people see your mess up, but they don't see your recovery. That felt like a word for someone. You have gone through something. Maybe you're like me, and people have seen you mess up, and you feel like the only way that I can be restored is if they see me come out on the other side of this. But the truth is that your recovery is not about having an applause. It's not about having an audience. Your recovery is about coming back to a place where you can say to yourself, I am finally aligned with who I am supposed to be in God. I got out of alignment, but now I am here. And so here I am, God, and I will do whatever you tell me to do, and I will move in whatever direction you tell me to move in. And that is exactly what Eve does after she messes up in the garden. She doesn't allow herself to stay in the environment mentally where you feel like this is who I am forever. And that's something that I've been so passionate about sharing with every woman, because it's more than just this momentary thing that happens in our lives. So many of us just get stuck in fear. We're in this pandemic. Some of us have lost our jobs. Some of us have lost our passion. Some of us are afraid to love. Some of us are afraid to show up as ourselves. Some of us are afraid to go outside. Some of us don't even know where our purpose is anymore because of just seeing other people's failures, hearing other people's disappointments, and then just trying to survive this season. And this book, the subtitle to me, Break Up With Your Fears and Revolutionize Your Life, is exactly what I feel like Eve did. It's exactly what I did as a young mom, as a divorcee, as a college dropout. I came up to this point where I was like, I'm living in the revolution of my life, but I didn't acknowledge it as a revolution until I got to sit down and write this book. And when I got to sit down to write this book, I was able to process how I got here, how I went from being the girl who would never speak, did not want to be in ministry at all, to a person who believes like fully in every person's ability to understand who God is and to show up as the God vision version of themselves. And I unwind it. Like, how did I get here? What was the process? How did Eve get there? What was her process? And what can I do to share this with every woman? And so I'm going to do it. Like I said this on the podcast yesterday when we were live. If you guys listen to it on audio, you'll hear it tomorrow. But like, I am going to get behind what God is doing in my life. I am going to get behind what God is doing in my life. I am not going to sit back and allow other people to be touched, changed, and transformed, but be too shy to not want to like push it. I want to get behind what God is doing in my life. I want myself to be the number one fan when it comes to doing what God, to showing and revealing what God has done in my life. And I feel like that's somebody's word too. Like maybe you're wondering whether or not people will validate your gift, whether or not people will affirm what God is doing in your life. And you need to come to a place where you will say to yourself, like, I am going to get behind what God is doing in my life. Yes, that means I may have to miss out on some friends. Yes, that means I may have to be vulnerable. Yes, that means I'm going to have to be courageous. But if I'm going to be courageously free, the only kind of freedom I want is free to be who I am in God. The only kind of freedom I want to experience is free to wake up every morning excited about what God is doing in my life and not ashamed and not afraid and not having survivor's remorse because I made it to this side and someone else didn't make it. So I don't want to shine too brightly because I don't want to hurt them. No, I rebuke that. I believe that each of us have an opportunity to not leave any woman behind. But in order for us to drag a woman forward, we have to move forward ourselves, and not just women. I think it applies to men as well. But we want to lead a generation and fit in with the generation at the same time. And sometimes you have to be willing to lead by allowing that moment, that split second when it's just you. And then to be able to turn around and say, I found the way, I found the path, I'm going to come get you too. So, in order to do that, you have to be willing to get behind what God is doing in your life. And that's what we're going to be doing with Woman Evolve. That's what I'm going to be doing. When you guys see me posting and stuff, just know like this is me like saying, I rebuke you, devil. I rebuke you, fear. This is going to be an outward demonstration of me standing up to who I am in God. And I want you guys to join me in your own way. I don't know how that shows up in your life, but I want you guys to see this as me stepping out and maybe giving you a sign to step out as well. So I love you. I got the book. Like I got to see the book. It's printed. Can I tell y'all something real fast? Then I'll get off. Okay, so I shot this cover in May in the middle of the pandemic. Everything was shut down. Everything was shut down. And Amazon delivery wasn't even Prime no more. Come on, somebody. So listen, I found an outfit on Amazon. My hand to the Bible, found something on Amazon. Me and Jay Bolin were like sending pictures, sending looks. We had a florist create like a garden archway, like a archway thing for when people get married. That's all that is. And then she stuck roses in it. And we were like, get the shot really tight. And the whole point, right, was like me coming back to tell Eve, I got you. Like, that's why I wanted it to look like I was coming out of a garden. Like, I wanted Eve to know, like, sis, I used to drag you. I used to feel like you wasn't nothing, but I figured out how you did it. I figured out how you came out on the other side. And I wanted to represent a restored Eve, like a woman who like went through some stuff, but came out on the other side feeling like a boss, feeling like I got this, feeling like I revolutionized my life. And so I am so proud of the story behind this cover, of me doing my makeup and finding stuff on Amazon with Jay, and Shaw was in the mix, and Brian Freeman, our photographer. So I can't wait until you guys get to hold this book. If you guys are going to be a part of the book club, then you already know, like, this is our book club. Okay, so just real fast. Okay, so we have a book club for Woman Evolve. The Woman Evolve book club is just like where we get together for like-minded connection and sisterhood. And if those of you who are like, I feel like I'm the only person who's on this journey of getting behind what God is doing on the inside of me, I want you to join the book club. If you join today, you will be a part of the April book club, where you'll get this book and discussion guides, and you'll be in the Facebook group with all of the sisters. I love the Facebook group. I was just in there today scrolling through people's comments and stuff. And it's not just like talking about the book. Like, there are women in this club. Someone posted today, like, hello sisters, I've never posted, but today I'm asking that you all intercede for me in prayer. I am fighting, and today is one of those days that I can't stop the tears, and I need the strength to do what's best for my life. This is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being in community, intentional community with women who are saying, listen, I'm going to help you. Sometimes the only way for you to get behind what God is doing in your life is to have somebody push you into it. Okay. That's what the word comes and does to us. Sometimes it pushes us to get behind what God is doing in our life. And so the book club is just constant community for you to get behind what God wants to do in your life. I'm hand selecting the books. So in many ways, it's a mentorship because this is what has helped me. This is what I believe that God is sharing with those of you. Okay, you guys are asking. The book club is womanevolvebookclub.com. You don't have to buy the book. You will get this book as being a part of the Woman Evolve Book Club and the discussion guides and the community. And this, this may not, the community may not be for everyone. You may want to kind of digest this by yourself. But if you say, I really want to be involved in the community and the sisterhood, I want the discussion guides, I want to make sure that I'm processing with intention what it is I'm reading, then you guys should definitely join. Today is the last day. It is the last day to be a part of getting Woman Evolve for April for the book club. If you guys are not on Facebook, you still get the discussion guides, you still get the podcast, you still get the questions. We just won't be able to bother you on Facebook with our comments and stuff. Maybe you could get like a fake Facebook. I know it's a Finsta on Instagram. I don't know what it's called on Facebook, but maybe you can get just a profile where you can come in and engage if you're comfortable with that. But it's womanevolvebookclub.com. I cannot wait. When I say I cannot wait for you all to hold this book. Okay, I'm going to read this real fast, this dedication, and then I'm off this thing, okay? This book is dedicated to every woman determined to abandon what was and bold enough to discover what could still become. This one is for us. This one is for us. This one is for us. To every woman determined to abandon what was and bold enough to discover what could still become. This one is for us. This one is for us. And I know it's going to change your life. I know it's going to change your life. Somebody asked, is my book on Audible? It is on Audible. I read it. I was in the studio. I read it already. And how do I join the book club? womanevolvebookclub.com. I'm going to pin this, but then I don't know how long it'll stay up there. Today's the last day for you guys to join to get this book a part of the book club. But obviously the book will be on Amazon and stuff. But if you want the community, you want the sisterhood, you want the discussion guides and questions that we curated, then they're going to be on the book club today. Okay. I am so grateful that you all took the time to come on and hear what I was talking about. I'm going to be asking, usually I close in prayer. I'm going to be asking if you all would just pray for me, okay? And pray for my courage. Pray for this book, man. Pray for the women who are connected to this book. Pray for their lives. Pray for their hearts. Pray for their minds. Pray for their spirits. Help is on the way. There are women right now struggling, women right now confused, and they don't even know that God has already laid them on my heart. Help is on the way. And so I'm going to be asking for you all to go into serious intercession. Anytime you see my name on a post, anytime you see me on there, you see something about this book, I just ask that you all would drop a prayer for this book. I'm believing in supernatural breakthrough. Like, I feel the Spirit of God. I'm believing that this is going to be the turning point for so many women who don't understand how much God loves them, how much purpose God still has for them in the earth. And so I'm just going to be asking that you guys continue to pray with me. And I love you all. I love you very much. And thank you for listening to me. Okay.